Hello. Today I talk about the number 14 card of the major arcana. I'm using the Rider-Waite deck, and that is Temperance. So the number 14 has to do with adaptability. And that is really what this card is all about. Being able to adapt to a situation. And the other major arcana before this was the Death card. And upcoming we've got some sort of scary cards with the Tower and the Devil. So to me, this is kind of this break away from that kind of energy, and after death, the Death card, the ego no longer can just function in the solely physical world, kind of like in the Chariot, where this is just people who don't see spirituality. It doesn't matter, I'm not talking about believing in God, but I'm talking about understanding and nurturing the personality, the soul, any kind of thing like that. So after a dealing with death, then a person comes out understanding that there's always a spiritual element, and that is definitely what Temperance is about here, and that really helps us with the next part of the tarot. Because with the Devil and the Tower, there's a real ungrounding here. And because of the experience with Temperance, then the Fool clings to his soul, his search for personality, and that really helps him find meaning in these upcoming devastations. And then he becomes able to be, get regrounded here in an important way. But Temperance means to mix, combine or mix properly. So this is definitely kind of like an alchemy thought here, where it's just he's got the cups and he's combining them properly. And it really is, if we could use the symbolism here, like in Christianity, where Jesus turns wine or water into wine, then it's transmuting this energy by combining things properly. And it is true alchemy, and it's psychological as well, because transmutation is the hardest psychological thing to really accomplish. It's much easier to project than it is to transmute. So in the background we've got the path that led and will lead away. It leads to and from Temperance. And it looks, to me on this Rider-Waite deck, it looks like a sun. I know some people think it looks like a crown, but to me it almost does look like a setting sun, because of the darkness that's about to be ahead here, and it's the traveling, the path that's going to be next. But this is this very important reprieve from that. So the skies are clear, and the angel has 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on land. And you can probably guess what I think about that, which is that 1 foot is now in the subconscious after the experience, the ego death associated with that death, that change that just really ungrounds somebody from their shatters their ego. And there's a lot of good things that come from having ego shattered, which is the rebuilding of the self in the spiritual way. Now the angel has a foot in spiritual and emotional waters and understands them. And she has her foot on the ground. So this is earth, the physical aspects, the mundane, our world, our realm. And so it is obviously that there is a spiritual and emotional aspect to life, combining it with the mundane and making that work really well. Because truly to not be spiritual or to not be physical and able to make sense in this physical plane, executing budgets, making plans, being able to cover your needs, those come together here for this angel, and that's what that represents. And the irises that are the little flowers growing next to here are a sign of this renewal once again. After death, here again is, of course, life. The other end of, because life and death are the same thing, the same process, but they're the yin and yang of each other. So he's the angel, and I say he, she. Why do I say that? Is because this angel really is kind of combining that idea of this angel could be a man, it could be a woman. I've heard some people say it looks like the angel, the archangel, Gabriel or Michael. Whatever works for you is fine, but it's somebody who can combine their feminine and masculine sides. Once again, combining things the right way. So this would be a woman who can stand up for herself, can function in the workplace, could pay the bills, could take care of herself without a man, and be physically present in the world, be making sense in this way. And I myself am not very much in the physical world, but I still make sure that I'm attached to it. So I'm just telling you the general idea here. It could be a man who in his spare time meditates and does a lot of self-care, examines his emotions. Let's say he looks at his anger and decides to walk away when he feels angry and meditate. So that is this connection, the anima, animus, the balancing, because whether we're gay, straight, man or woman, we have both masculine and feminine within us, and they both have to be fed and nurtured properly in order to have this temperance really going on, the combining of things properly. So, and the triangle on the robe that is within a square, the triangle is kind of this idea of the Trinity. But take away from it that it is divinity, and the square represents the earth realm. So there's divinity inside of this earth realm, and that this is an angelic sort of influence, so that when you truly balance a person, a querent here, balances themselves out, it really is divine. And it looks like the angels pouring the water from the bottom to the top, like a miracle, like something that goes against gravity and science here. And that would be the idea that basically able to take anything and make it sort of miraculous, because if you have a real understanding of logic and emotion, then people are attracted to that, because in general people have a hard time balancing out the logical and emotional worlds in general. So when they see somebody who embodies temperance, then they are really attracted to that and want, kind of searching about how to do that. And this really is like, let's say this person is not unhappy, this angel. They could be anxious, they could be experiencing really awful things, and they would combine and mix herbal remedies, meditations, alone time, exercise, whatever it would, their hobbies and interests, whatever it would take, they would mix and combine them so that they could get through this tragedy or trauma. And other people would say, wow, they've got this really good energy. I really want to be around this person. And that has to do with, like, when a person is really able to transmute tragedies and negativity and abuse, then they become attractive to other people in a sense that people want to know their thoughts. They come to them for healing. So they become a healer. They become an angel in the sense that they become the divine. They can tap into it. They can be here in the physical realm, and then they can also walk away and go back to the spiritual world, because the spiritual world is not far away. We are aspects of God incarnate. That's kind of that pagan idea that we're our own godheads, and it's not an insult. I consider it the highest honor and privilege to be an aspect of God or consciousness incarnate. And so I take, this responsibility for my own self by trying to be my best self, so those around me can be their own better selves. That's really, to me, what temperance is about. Sorry. Reversed. So we got reversed here. Reversed, this is somebody who is not mixing and combining things well. So that has to do with let's just say a person who is kind of like the Chariot, which is the earlier card, and they're just driven by business, finances, the physical world. They don't pay attention to their emotional needs at all. So they eventually become angry and depressed and start drinking or having affairs or buying expensive cars, and eventually they go into debt even though they are rich. They don't examine. They're not combining anything. They're just trying to have the one cup, the physical, and not examine. On the other hand, this could definitely be somebody who lives on the astral emotional plane, and they don't really make a whole lot of sense in the physical world. And I'm saying, like, these are periods of time for people. Nobody is just going to be stuck in general in the phase of just not being able to examine the emotional. These are the journey of the tarot. So, if somebody is just lost in, I guess with the angel here, it's like they're lost in divinity and mysticism, maybe paying for psychics when they shouldn't. I think we've all known somebody who's like that, but it's paying for it in an amount that doesn't make any kind of sense. They're not combining their physical needs with their spiritual needs. So it's just, the idea reversed is that it's mixing and combining improperly. This is not going well. This is going against the flow of water. This is an ungrounded situation. And you want to look at the other surrounding cards to tell you what, if you're doing a two-path spread or whatever, Celtic cross, past, present, future. That kind of gives you more of an information about what you're searching for. But this is the general idea of the Temperance card. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Pretty soon I'm going to be going out doing some hiking, so I plan to film some stuff regarding that, and I'm probably going to start some talks about reincarnation, and I'll also continue to do some of my topics on the left-hand path. Alright, thank you guys so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe.